see. I'm not going to see anything if I put my sunglasses on. All right. So this one, SEC probe. I've got a lot of thoughts on this, and I wanted to discuss it with you, Cade, and the audience. Be interested, guys. If you've got some thoughts on this, let us know. But basically, the SEC has said that they are going to be investigating Yuga Labs, which is the creator of Bored Ape Yacht Club. So SEC is the Wall Street regulator, and they want to see whether NFTs are securities. Bored Ape Yacht Club has said that they will be cooperating. They're happy to answer any questions. We do know that SEC probes tend to take very, very long to finalize. So, it's not something where we're going to have an answer tomorrow. I do think that one of the challenges is that NFTs are already risky. We are already in an environment with the macro where everything is like up in the air and people are scared. And now you add an additional risk to the biggest collection in the space, being this SEC investigation. And it just makes it a little bit less attractive than it was. To keep it in perspective, the SEC can, if they find wrongdoing, they can fine the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Now we know that the Bored Ape Yacht Club has got a lot of money, and they can, if you look at the usual fines, it might be a couple of million if there was wrongdoing, which we don't know that there was. The other thing is you've got to know that the Bored Ape Yacht Club has seen this coming. So I remember with the launch of Other Deed, their land sale, you had to KYC. It was done through Animoca Brands, which has got a lot of experience in this. And even on their roadmap, they've got the trial of Jimmy the Monkey, which is the next roadmap event. It's almost like they foresaw this happening in the beginning. It's been on the roadmap since the very, very beginning. So you got to know, with them knowing that they have a target on their back because they're the biggest collection in the space, and then launching a token, which we know does open it up to potentially being perceived as a security, that they have consulted with the best lawyers before they launched apecoin, and that they have probably covered their backs. You've got to assume that and think that, because they did know this was coming and they were very careful with how they rolled it out. Right. With that said, because the NFT space is so new, we do not yet know whether NFTs are securities or not. No one can tell you for sure. There is that test, that layman test that everyone talks about, where it's created to deliver value and things like that, where no one can tell you for sure unless this goes to through a court case whether an NFT itself is a security or not. They specifically said in the SEC report that they are investigating the NFT side and apecoin. They said it in that order, which means that they're looking at the NFTs also as being securities. If they come back and say that they are securities after years of investigation, then we're going to have much more regulation in the space, which is another discussion whether that's positive or negative. I think there's merit to both of those things. And if they say it's not a security in a couple of years' time, then NFTs are going to pump. Right. So that's my whole thought on it. Cade, I'm really eager to hear what you think.
Yeah. So on Tea Time, I asked Brett, because this is something that I feel like he would know more than I did. And he kind of went off on it. And he said from his perspective, it's not as big of a deal and people just kind of saw it coming. And I mean, that's just how it is with the biggest project in the space. For me, I didn't really have too many thoughts on it. Like, I don't know. It just sounds like they're kind of like wanting to put as big of a foot down on them as far as control, and saying like, we are here, we can do whatever we want to you guys. You're just a small little, even though you guys have all this money and attention and you're Bored Apes, we can still just like throw you guys in our investigation and kind of throw you around. So that's kind of the way I look at it. I don't know. I guess it's just inherent with a new type of financial asset, if you will, and coming into the space, and people just don't understand it yet. And I think this is just normal. I assume it's normal.
Yeah, I think it is. I think the challenge, the difficulty that it brings is that now, if let's just say you're a venture fund that was looking to invest in an NFT project, now you might want to see the outcome of this SEC probe before you invest in the project. So in the short term, it's not so great for the space. There's no doubt. Yep. In the medium to long term, I think it is good for the space because we do need to know at some point where we stand. And I think that it's very good that the SEC, and I think it's actually quite noble, that they chose the biggest project with the biggest war chest. Because if anyone can defend this and, mitigate it properly, litigate it properly as Bored Ape Yacht Club, I think this would have been a lot easier for the SEC. They could have gone after any tiny project, but I think it's really noble of them to investigate the biggest. I really do. They could have just as easily gone after Sneaky Vampire Syndicate at a 0.1 floor, or Subducks at a 0.2 floor, or Doge Pound at a 0.25 floor. They could have, because they're all NFTs. But I do think it's good there on both sides. From the SEC side, I think it's respectful that they went after Bored Ape Yacht Club. And from our side, we've got the project with the biggest backing in the space who will defend this and argue this and see where it goes, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but I mean, the floor was sitting at about just under 16 Ethereum just before this announcement. It dropped all the way to 13 Ethereum, and it's now come back to about 14.5. That's where it's sitting on mutants. The other thing that you have to keep into mind is that we were supposed to have apecoin staking coming out in the next couple of weeks. Now, you've got to think, if you Bored Ape Yacht Club and you're being now investigated by the SEC, is it the best time to roll out staking? Probably not, because you could implicate yourself even worse. So the other reason why short-term I'm quite bearish on short-term on the ecosystem is because I do think in the next couple of weeks, and this is purely my own thoughts, that they're going to come out and postpone staking. And I think that is going to lead to another big dip in the floor. I was quite surprised because the dip in the floor price was not as hectic as we thought. It was about 10%, a little bit under 10% on mutants and apes, and apecoin went about 10% down, from about $5.20 to $4.50. So that's what we've seen. There is a bit of it, but yeah, I'm actually waiting to hear what they say about staking before making any further moves. I did sell my mutant as soon as the news came out, with the intention of buying back in, because I do think they're going to delay staking, and I do think we will see mutants around 11, even if it's for a few hours. I do think there'll be an opportunity to get back in. So yeah, also they're going to be focused on this SEC thing. I know they're a relatively big team, but they're not going to be as focused on the project while they've got this hanging over their head and they're busy meeting with them and answering questions and whatever it may be. So yeah, I mean, I'm watching carefully, but full disclosure, I did sell my mutant. I was able to get out at just under 16. I literally listed it as soon as I heard the news, but it was a really good looking one. But yeah, going to be interesting to see what happens there. But definitely a big story in the space, but definitely one that was expected at some stage.
I agree. I don't know. I mean, for me, I was just looking at the Bored Ape Yacht Club prices, and I was like, I feel like if I'm ever going to get to the mutant, the easiest way there is to buy the cheapest thing in the Yuga ecosystem, wait for a pump, sell the news, take the extra profit, and then sit on my hands and wait until there's this type of thing. And I'll probably be like, once I start to enter like potential buy-in territory for a Bored Ape or a Mutant Apes level thing, I'll probably be hitting you up every few days, be like, yo, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Should I try this play? So you're gonna probably see DJ and Kate come out in the next year or two whenever I decide to buy.
Good. You let me know when you're ready, and I'll tell you when I'm buying it, when I think the best.
True. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a great way to put it. I will do that. That'd be cool. Maybe I'll buy it on stream. Could you imagine if I'm like, oh man, like this is the one I want, and then I'm like, wait, I want this one right now. That would be a legendary moment if we had it on this show.
Yeah, it would. We must try to do it. So Crypto Dream, they haven't said that they're a security. They've said they're investigating. So it's not like they're guilty and they have to prove their innocence. They want to investigate. They want to understand more. And we also saw some guys like Frank from DGods tweeted about 2 weeks ago that there's something massive on the horizon, not great short term, but will be good long term. And I saw a few other, and he said, then it's not my story to tell. And I saw a few other influencers then saying the same thing.
Well, now, they were fucking around, the rest of them. It's like a thing.
Well, maybe. Okay, fine. But Frank definitely did say that. So maybe he was talking about this and he had some inside knowledge of it, right?
Yeah, I think Frank did have some type of inkling of what's going on, but the rest of them, you know how when storytelling NFTs were blowing up, all the influencers were saying storytelling NFTs to kind of meme on them. That's what that same thing is. Whenever you see Farouk have a copy and paste type of tweet where you're like, I thought someone else tweeted that, it means he's just clowning on them. But it doesn't mean it's not real. Like if the influencers with 300K are tweeting something, then even though it's a joke, it's like not really, because people are going to look at it and be like, oh shit, storytelling NFTs, and they're going to buy Renka or something like that.
Do you know what's going on with Farouk? Why it says OpenSea intern? Is he joking or is he
I
actually
don't
working with
know.
OpenSea?
I think it's a joke because I listened to, if you listen to the podcast with him on NGMI.
Yeah, I don't, but yeah.
Okay. Well, he did that podcast. They didn't really talk about anything in regards to that. So I'm gonna assume it's a joke. I don't know. Maybe it's a sign for me. Maybe I'm gonna start working there.
Like I even said, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. They were tweeting backwards and forward, Farouk OpenSea. And I even said to them, go get a room. Get a room, guys. Because they were like love hearts and all this. And that's when he changed his name to OpenSea Intern. I don't know. Maybe he is doing something for them. I don't know. But shout out to Farouk. He's doing great things in the space. I've been watching the floor price of his Rug Radio passes. They're slowly
impressive.
Going up. And it just shows you it's the same as the Nifty show. They do streams every day, and Twitter Spaces and YouTube.
Dude, yeah, I'm trying to figure them out. I don't know like they have a huge fucking audience, and I'm like, where are these people? Who are these people? You know, like thousands of people. I'm very impressed with them.
No, they're great. They're really, really great. I've been following them for a while. I've flipped the NFTs a few times. I'll pull it up on the screen here. They definitely the Nifty portal, right? Mm-hmm. They definitely are expanding. They've been hiring people left, right, and center. This is them over here. You can see, and they do have another collection coming out shortly with it. But their Discord is like known to be the best degen Discord. So if you're a degen that likes buying the biggest shit just because it's pumping and then dumping it, they are that community.
I see.
See. They don't take themselves too seriously, but they give consistent, content, and they really are. I love listening to them. They're one of my favorite podcasts or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, big shout out to those guys over there.
Oh yeah.
What else?
Also, speaking of the Nifty portal and podcast, I don't know if it was me that saw it or who saw it, but I got this. I posted this the other day. I was like, my advice for anyone getting to the Web3 space to start a podcast show: start from the bottom, grow your way up. That's what I did, and it worked, and it's amazing because it's just such a good way to earn the respect from people that you want to talk to, and you can speak to them. And it's fun, and it's good content. You can chop up. There's just too many positives. And then I believe the reason I posted that is because someone was like, it might have been Gary Vee. He was like, you should just reach out to everyone. Just start DMing people. He's like, you don't think about it because you don't think they'll respond, but just shoot the DM anyway. And so I've done that like multiple times, and I've gotten huge guests by just sending a random DM, zero expectation. I've probably out of 10, I would say 9 don't land, but 1 does land. Like I got Champs coming on Monday or Tuesday. I have Crypto Wendy. She's a huge crypto YouTuber. She's coming out at some point. But just people like I wouldn't have expected to see my DM. They're just scrolling through and they're like, "Oh yeah, podcast, nice."
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're
exactly, a podcast host, bro, that's it. It's exactly like when you before married days for me, but you go to a club and you'd like talk up 10 chicks.
Yeah.
And one of them would be drunk enough to say yes, right?
True.
So it's all a numbers game. It's all a numbers game for sure.
That's funny.
But that's awesome with Champ. I like Champ also. That's really, really awesome.
Yeah. That was
cool. You guys doing it on your YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Can I come say
normal podcast? Yeah.
YouTube or normal?
It'll be a normal
Twitter Spaces.
Oh no, a normal YouTube show.